It's been a long summer, and today we've decided to chat about the importance of health as it relates to your business. And we're going to talk about ways that you can avoid burnout and prioritize and safeguard not only your physical health, but your mental health, and make sure that you're, you know, the best version of yourself that you can be. Um, not only for yourself, but for the business, I guess. My name is Matthew Goddard.
And my name is Diana Lizarazo. I'm excited for this topic because I think when we're talking about businesses and starting businesses or running businesses, we don't really talk very much about like that, what brings us down in businesses, how we can improve ourselves to make sure that we're accelerating and improving our business. Okay, what story do you want to share about that where you felt the burnout, where you felt depleted, and and how it impacted your business?
For me, it wasn't like an immediate thing. I was thinking of last year. So last year, near the beginning of the year, um, middle of winter, which doesn't necessarily help. And for me, I just felt very mentally drained, very uh, you know, physically, emotionally just drained. Um, and and it wasn't good. Like, I felt like I was maybe doing work, but not like it was just maybe busy work or something. I don't know. Um, and it got to the point where I was like doing nothing. I felt like I was just making no progress and not doing anything, and I maybe didn't even want to get out of bed. Like it was not great, and I burned myself out, and so
And what were your
for
ideas behind it when that was happening? What was going through your mind? I'm curious. Like, did you know you're going through burnout? Or what did you think was actually happening to you? Because I feel like that's another good thing probably to talk about is even identifying. I feel like sometimes we don't
yeah.
even realize we're in a burnout period.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's not easy to recognize it, right? What was going through my mind? I don't know. It was very much just like an exhaustion, Like I just felt exhausted. And so my problem solving mind was kind of, okay, maybe it's I'm not eating great. Let's like run these little experiments and like eat better for like a week. And I'm like, nah, I still kind of feel like shit. And like it, and all this. And so um it was difficult. Like all the issues were running through my head. Um and that's when I realized like, okay, I'm done. Like I've burned myself out. I need to kind of recoup. Um because I know I could do better. I know that I have it in me. I have a goal. I had like whatever. Um but yeah, it was it was my priorities were not maybe where they were, or my actions weren't matching my priorities. And so I realized I needed to change something.
Yeah.
Um, and so for me, that's kind of what I did. Like I burned myself out and I needed to figure out maybe what went wrong and change my priorities and change my actions.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say it makes me curious actually with what you're saying is that was it like in this case was the business was being affected, but it wasn't really the goal that was the problem. It was that you're not taking care of yourself probably. Or was it like stresses of business stuff, but then obviously I feel like in the health sense of yourself, like you know what I mean? Like was it like and then you're
Yeah.
seeing the effects in your health?
Yeah, I would say like it was, I mean, none of it was just black and white. Like there was kind of everything kind of had this sort of impact on the other element. Um, but like my goal, I guess, or my vision, like what I was doing in my business, like I still felt like yes, like this is what I want to do, at least in part, in some form. Um, and so it wasn't quite that, but it was obviously how I'm executing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe there's a disconnect there, right?
Yeah.
Um, for me, that disconnect was just like feeling like I had to do everything myself. So like not saying no to anything sort of thing, and just like feeling like I had to do more and more and more. Um, and not kind of leaving enough time for like all the other things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even more so doing more and more and more, but not even more and more of like things I was good at, you
Like
know?
it wasn't
Like,
productive more. It was busyness
yeah, it
box
wasn't
more.
productive. Yeah, it wasn't productive more. It was like, a lot of tasks that are like, I'm just not, they are not my skill set. Actually, like things that are not my skill set. And, so yeah, not only am I doing more, it's like less is getting done because I'm not delegating, I'm not doing things efficiently, um,
Mhm.
and
That
I'm burning myself out.
prioritization is not happening. Yeah,
That
yeah,
prioritization is not happening, right?
yeah. And even
Um,
something that you said, which my story I think is kind of uh like the goal, where our goals are good goals. Because sometimes, a lot of people will say, oh, you don't have motivation, you don't have this, you don't have that. The problem may be the goal. But I feel like in both our scenarios, it's understanding that this is a burnout and it's not goal related. Like we want to achieve our goals and the goal is
mm,
there strong, but it's actually more of the burnout. It's a like being able to, I think, identify even that, I think, is important, where it's like, okay, the goal wasn't is not the issue. Like I don't really need to change the goal. It's more that there's a burnout happening and I'm not prioritizing or I'm not doing things in a more efficient way that helps me to get to my goal.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like I wouldn't say it's maybe like a hard rule. Maybe the goal is incorrect,
Mm-hmm.
but in my case, it wasn't, and I'd say in a lot of cases, maybe it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely, at least in my case, it's more likely a attribute or a consequence or symptom of like the actions, the priorities
Mm-hmm.
that the mechanisms through which I'm trying to reach that goal, right?
Yes.
Um, in my case, it was not delegating really well, feeling like I had to do everything myself, not providing myself enough time to like be a human and process things and relax and smell the roses, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Uh, it was a combination of all of
Yeah.
those elements.
And I think it's when you get stuck in the
Yeah,
grind, exactly what you said, when you get stuck in that grind and it's like you feel like this is moving and you can't stop it. For some reason, we have this thing, it's like you have to keep on going because you have goals and things to meet. And then
yeah,
this also just doesn't give you that time to think of, why am I feeling this way? Like, how can I better use myself in a better way so I can be
yeah,
more effective?
yeah. And because like time and energy is limited, you know? Like this isn't an unlimited resource as much as I'd like to. I vividly recall some like what whether they were productive, you know. I'm not gonna cast judgment on my own productivity. Obviously, they were super productive because that's what it felt like at the time, whether they were or not. Um, but I definitely recall being like, you know what? I'll just uh like overextending myself
Mm-hmm.
and just being like, it's gonna be fine. Like you got this, man. Like you're a robot. You got this. Like nothing to stop
Mm-hmm.
you. It's like, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not true.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, that's a good point. You're basically saying sometimes when we're in a burnout phase, we go into this positivity of like, maybe if I give myself these positive affirmations, it will remove the burnout. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's almost like we're putting, if anything, a delusion on top of it,
Yeah.
to just make us keep on going, when that's probably not that's not the solution. It's like
No. And
we
if
need
anything,
to
it
like,
make, yeah. I was
yeah.
gonna say, if, and it, that's true. I feel like it's like, that's the first phase. And then, and then, and then the cracks start showing. And the second phase is, oh, I was wrong. Um, oh, crap, 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 crap. Uh, now what? Like, that's phase two of like realizing you're burning yourself out. Um,
Mhm.
and that, potentially false, uh, motivation and confidence, uh, yeah,
Yeah. To
that
just
doesn't
power through.
withstand
Like
reality.
we
Yeah.
think let's power through, and that's going to make the burnout
Yeah.
stop, but that's not really the solution.
It's like my energy isn't infinite. What are you talking about? That's crazy. I really thought it was infinite. Like I'm just a person. I could
You're
decide
like,
to
what?
do
I'm not
things.
Superman since when?
Yeah. Like I can do that. So obviously I need to do it. Like, no, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, in my case of burnout, I actually had in the same project, I myself started with going through a burnout period, and then my team did after the fact. And so what happened with me is I had a partner. I started off with a partner, and things were just not going well. And you're trying to handle it, trying to deal with it, trying to make things work, but sometimes some partnerships just don't work out. And again, that delusion is coming in. I'm like, I just need to try harder. Like I should be able to work things out. And you know where my delusion went actually? Oh, I'm an engineer. I deal with men all the time. I can handle this guy, right? And then I also went through this delusion of I know renovations really well because I have a renovation business, so I can
Yeah.
talk the language and I can handle this guy, right? So I was going through these delusions myself, and then realizing that I had to get Giancarlo to come in and help me with it, because yes, I understand renovations well, but people that are in it are going to obviously run circles around me, because I can know when things are wrong, but can I fully speak the language? No. I can't
Yeah.
really fully speak the language. So it was very stressful for me to deal with this partner. And I had to get someone to come in and really kind of set things uh, in the right course. But even in that sense, as it was going, still, I'm burning out. I feel stressed. I'm a disaster. All I want to do is sleep all day. Like my
Hmm.
mind was just kind of like I just didn't have any energy. And and then finally something happens where it was so bad that we just had to get rid of him. We
Yeah.
had to get rid of that partnership because it was like really, it was very bad. But the funny part was, so in that, like that, I was delusional the whole time. And I'm blaming, because at the same time, actually, I also was changing my diet. I was in a process of changing my diet. So I'm
Yeah.
blaming my diet. I'm just like, man, this diet, and I think I was trying out a keto diet because people were talking about it and how good it is. And I'm thinking the keto diet is the problem, and I'm
Yeah.
blaming the diet, and thinking that that's the issue. So again, like this whole delusion, it's funny how you go through this delusional period trying to
Yeah.
say that everything else but the real problem is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
like,
I feel
actually,
like
you know
if you're
what will
doing
fix
that,
this?
that's an indication
Different.
of burnout.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like, oh, you know what it is? Like for me, it was like, you know what? I should start running. I need to start running because like it, you know, it was affecting my physical health, and stuff. I'm like, yeah, running. That's going to be my physical health is the root of all my issues.
Yeah. Or like that's
Um,
gonna solve everything. That
yeah,
will
yeah, they
solve the
like that. That's
problem.
what, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I'm going to start running. That's going to fix all my health issues. And obviously my health issues are the root cause of all these other issues.
Yeah.
So like bing, bang, boom, I got it figured out.
Yeah.
No. Um, that's not how that works. And then it was actually funny because when I started running at the beginning of last year, I that's sort of like I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. Like the world's not gonna stop me now because I run in the morning. Like now I'm
You're like,
really
I'm
got
being
it.
healthy, so
I got the secret. And yeah, and that was my mind. That was like my thought. And then I went in for like my annual checkup and my doctor's like reviewing the blood results and she's like, "Oh, your cholesterol's like super high. Uh, you're gonna have to start some medication if it gets any higher." I'm like, "Oh, so running doesn't fix all my problems?" Like that was it was almost like that's not what she said, but like in my brain I'm like, "Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I guess so."
yeah.
Like
You're
you,
like, so
you
this doesn't solve everything. Yeah.
like you
Or
can't have a birthday cake for breakfast and still and then just run it off and also fix all your business problems at the same
yeah.
time without running? Apparently not.
Yeah. And it's funny for me. So, like that, like once we got rid of him, is where that realization actually a weight had lifted off my shoulders. And I realized I was so stressed, so burnt out from this mental stress of trying to like manage this person and thinking that I could. And that realizing that we just weren't a good partnership, we just weren't a good fit, and we shouldn't have done business together.
Yeah.
And it was because literally that moment never took a nap again. The rest of that project I was good, and it was like that, like I was completely delusional on what was going on with me,
Yeah.
and trying to blame everything else and just be like, no, I'm good, I can deal with men, I'm good, like trying to like I can deal with renovations. I'm like, like just putting all these stories into me to like this positive affirmations that like I can do this, I'm good, and it's like no, or and then blaming other things that are not related
Yeah.
to what's the real, like, yeah, just this delusion that we put onto ourselves. And then it's funny because then I had to get obviously a new team to come in. So that's where I
Right.
got Giancarlo and his team to come in. And now I'll talk about, I mean, I'll talk about theirs. Theirs was more of a physical exhaustion because at that time they had many projects going on. And I like begged, begged them to squeeze me in because I also had to have this project done in 6 months because I was in a private land and I had to pay back that money. And we already had delays from this person because it was just, again, a disaster that was going on. So I was just like, can you please move your clients around, like do something like big favor for me? And so they basically were working, they decided to work weekends and work during the week and doing long hours to help get this done. And so these guys, poor things, burnt out and exhausted, mentally and physically exhausted. Probably actually more physically exhausted because the work wasn't anything crazy that need to be done that required a lot of like problem solving. But it was, so they were more physically exhausted because it's just go,
Yeah.
go, go. We're just like, because then they had to get to the next client. And then what happened was and then I would obviously come in on times and then I just see them like these poor lifeless men trying to work, like you could just tell like they were so exhausted they just couldn't do anything. And then that's when I took the decision, and this is something where sometimes being on the outside really helps, is I ended up telling them, I was like, you guys need, it wasn't a full week, like take 4 days off, something like that. I was like, you
Yeah.
guys are not working. You're gonna take 4 days off and then we'll start again. I'm like, you guys need to take a break. This going is clearly not working. And this, it just got so slow that I was just like, these guys have no energy. The poor things, they look so lifeless, trying to just get things done. I felt really bad actually. And so
Yeah.
they did take off those 4 days, which was kind of hard for me and them because we were just like, they have other clients and they have to do things, and I have deadlines. But that was such a pivotal 4 days off that they needed because it almost felt like the project would never end because it was just, instead of it going faster and finishing sooner because they had a deadline, it was actually getting slower. And
Yeah.
it's just they needed to rest and they needed to take time for themselves to actually finish. And then once they had that break, boom, we got it done and it was quick. Like they needed that reset to happen.
Yeah. It was like It's like that shot where you go down the hallway and as you're trying to run down the hallway's just like getting longer and longer, and it's like, okay,
Yes.
it's like this is gonna take forever if we don't just kind of like stop,
Do something.
pause,
Yeah.
and yeah, and reset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's important. Like it's difficult. It's first it's difficult, but then it's as difficult as it is, it's equally as important to like safeguard that, you know? Like at the end of the day, we're just humans. We're just, as I said before, we only have so much energy and so much time in the world. Um,
Percent.
as much as we like to try to give like 100% all the time, that's just not possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like that, it's even, I feel like, I think, I guess one of the learning experiences, at least for me, and even hearing your story, is that we do go through a delusional period. And I feel like in that
Yeah,
sense, sometimes that's where I feel like an outside person becomes very helpful, being a support system, a friend, someone that you know you could probably talk to about this, that could
yeah,
probably, and obviously I think you being open enough, us being open enough to actually share everything. Because it's really funny. I actually had a mentor at the time, and maybe at that time they weren't good at probing me, maybe because I was again focusing on, oh, this diet that you gave me was not a good diet. That's what I was talking about. And that mentor was a real estate
right,
mentor, but it was happened to happen at the same time. Whereas I'm sure if he probed me enough, we probably would have come down to actually the problem. The project is the problem.
yeah,
um so it's like having that person that can really question you to help you identify where the problem is coming from. Because, like that, we're in a delusional period and we're going to say what is not, like,
yeah,
what is the problem we think it is, which generally, if you're in delusion, you're somewhere else. You're like way
yeah.
off
You're someone else.
course, right?
Like it, as sort of a microcosm of that for me was that kind of running and then like, okay, did I fully believe that all my problems were going to be solved by running? Like maybe not the core me. Like if you really question me, I probably would like yield it. But like at least, at the time in my head, I was probably like, yeah, like I'm running, I gotta run, and this is it. And it wasn't until that sort of like third party empirical feedback that's like, hey, this isn't like it's not just a one thing that's gonna fix all your problems. There's no magic button,
Yeah.
right? And for me, it was that kind of, I went to the doctors. The doctor said, hey, your blood tests come back like crap. Well, maybe not that, but like, you need to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that you're running, but that's not some magic bullet.
Yeah.
So, and it really is that kind of like third party or outside perspective. And, um, you don't, it, you, not everyone has access to something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
or realizes that maybe they need an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's like the importance of of recognizing ahead of time that this could be an issue.
Yeah.
Like if you try to accept that this may become an issue, or it's been an issue in the past, then you can kind of build or set yourself up with some guardrails
Mm-hmm.
to prevent that, whether it's having like a coach or like a mentor that you kind of connect with to kind of like shine the mirror back in your face, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Or
give
even
you a
just
heads
someone
up.
you trust, right? Someone you
Yeah,
trust
like
that knows
family,
the
friends,
business.
whatever. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, or knows you,
Yeah. Or
either
knows
knows
you.
business or knows
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and calls you out because like they're going to impact each other. And
Yeah. And that
yeah,
being said, because it's true, like we may know we're in burnout, right? Because I knew, like, I'm sleeping way too much. Like that's
yeah,
all so I knew something was wrong with me. But it's also, so something is wrong with you, but usually that outside help helps you identify, can help you identify what the real problem is. If we are in that delusional period of work trying to make
yeah,
excuses on something else, and
Yeah.
not really what it could be.
One of the things that like kind of helped me out was like this like, and it's something that I constantly have to remind myself of is that like, I can't, not literally, but sort of figuratively, I can't read other people's minds.
Hmm.
And like I don't know what you're exactly feeling or going through in your life, and I don't know what anyone else. So, as and that's been how I've tried to kind of claw back getting out of my burnout is as new responsibilities, new tasks, whatever new things I need to do come up, um, exercising this sort of, okay, I can say yes or I can say no. Everything's not super urgent. I don't have to do everything myself. Um, and I don't know, like part of the I have to do it all myself and everything's super urgent all the time that made me kind of burn out is like me assuming I thought that the other side of that task also felt like this is the most urgent and important thing in the world. I need to um, deal with this situation. I need to respond to this. I need to say yes to this task because, I'm making an assumption that uh, it's also the most important thing to those people. But usually it's not the most important. Everyone else is also a human. They got their own lives going on, like junk, like uh, they got other priorities too,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I guess the other tip that I would say, because I think this is something that also happens to us, is being open to receive that information. Because I think sometimes people will tell us things and we still don't change. And usually it's something, like you said, kind of like big enough that happens that it forces us to change. Like in my case,
Yeah.
for example, like in the first, like comparing my two stories in the same project, with me, it was we would get in big trouble with the city if because of what this team was doing. And it was that made me get rid of them. Or else I don't think I would have got rid of them
Hmm.
because I would have been still trying to like I can fix it. Like, like I have to fix me to fix this. Like I need to like communicate better. I need to figure out this. I need to figure out that. Or
Yeah.
like that I bring in someone to help with the communication. Like I was finding other types of solutions where in the end I realized it was like I should have just let them go and been like, we are not partners. This is not happening. Compared
Yeah.
to the other, that was me, where I was just kind of like, if I had spoken to someone more about what was going on with the problems, maybe uh, I would have actually found, like, they probably would have said, like, maybe it's time to get rid of them or find better solutions, right? Where in the case of the team, where I was more on the outside, I wasn't feeling the stress or the burnout, but they were, they were
Hmm.
open enough to realize, yeah, yeah, I need to take the break. We need to take some time so that we can be more effective and efficient in getting this done because it was just like getting to a standstill type of thing.
Yeah. 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 And it's unfortunate that sometimes it's like if you're lucky, it'll be something that's like almost like for me, if I'm lucky, it's something that's kind of empirical and like indisputable
Mm-hmm.
so that I'm not like, oh yeah, maybe, but also, I'm going to be the devil's advocate in this situation and I could continue to like XYZ or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's like just kind of going back to that because I've already used that example. It's like it's the blood test says so. Like I
Numbers are
can't
the
argue with that.
numbers. What
Yeah,
else can
I'm
I
like
do?
I like to think that like they did it all wrong and I'm as healthy as a horse, but like yeah, they're probably right. Like not
Yeah,
probably, they
they
are.
are.
Like and yeah, I still run and that's still part of it and it's still one thing I do. And even in that like thing. It's more so it's not like this is a magic pill anymore, but it's something of cool. I'm like it's just a tool that I'm using to actually give myself like time away from work. I
Hmm.
go for an hour run. It's not necessarily about the running for an hour. It's about just an hour of like quiet, like listening to music, vibing, let the processes go, work in the back of my head, and like um living life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like,
It's true.
not to
It's
get
true.
too
I
like
mean,
deep into it,
sometimes,
but it's just like
but sometimes it's true because sometimes also solutions come when you take that break. Basically, I would say
yeah,
it's the third tip is that we get into this burnout and we're just trying to go, trying to go, trying to go, where that pause and what you're doing will actually probably give you the solution instead of really brute forcing it and just
yeah,
keep on going it. Because sometimes we just get into this like, you're going, and it's like sooner or later, but sooner or later, I think it's like you're just gonna fall over, keel over, die,
yeah,
instead of being like, let me take a pause, let me figure out or not even
yeah,
figure out, sorry, let me take a pause away from the business, away from the problem. And sometimes, and I feel like especially for me, actually, a lot of the times, the solutions will come when I'm not even thinking about
yeah.
the business, to be honest.
Well, and that kind of makes me th like it's kind of we kind of think of like that like we can do anything, right? Like, oh, it's just business, we can do anything, and like that's we're talking about that delusion that we tell ourselves. But it's not dissimilar. I would argue it's probably the same as I don't know, as physical activity or uh like when I was doing renovations and contracting work, I could easily tell when I just in a regular day, like as I got more tired throughout the day, that my work, like my hands didn't work as well as they used to, your brain gets a little foggy, your body gets sore. You don't just like throughout the course of a regular physical work day,
Mm-hmm.
like doing physical work,
Mm-hmm.
where like often as a business, someone who started a business or like it's not there's not there's not as much physical exertion or physical work. You're at a computer, maybe you're talking to people, you're doing phone calls, maybe you're sending emails, research, or like you're doing stuff, but it's not like workout physical work. And so you're like, oh, I can still do more. I can still do more.
Yeah.
But it's harder to spot those like inefficiencies creeping up as you get tired when
Mm-hmm.
it's all more in your head, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's easy to recognize that near the end of the day, uh, like I'm dropping measuring tapes or I'm missing the nail more often. Like that's a more physical like observation I can make. But like it's a lot harder to, recognize that near the end of the day when you're doing less physical stuff that, oh, actually I just spent the last 20 minutes staring at a screen and not doing anything. Like you're just zoning out and you're getting tired. And
Yeah.
so it just makes it harder. And I
You're
feel
right.
like that's one of the things.
The mental exhaustion is really hard to identify for
Yeah.
sure. Because a lot of the times, like you said, it's not really visible. So you're thinking it's something else that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and physically you may still see it, but you think it's more of like that, a physical exhaustion, and it's not coming from your mental exhaustion too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
I
like
completely agree with that.
even as you're talking and as I'm saying that, like literally that happened to me like last week. Like I spent hours, I was doing like accounting for my business and like doing all like literally hours of work and then got near the end, I think it was like, oh, 3 or 4. I'm like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to do anymore. I don't know if I can do anymore, but I gotta. Like I haven't done any, but I have done stuff. Like I've literally been working all day, you know? But it's yeah. You like I can do more. It's like no, you can't. You're burning yourself out. Matthew, you're burning yourself out.
It's like you're trying to, it's like you're like, I should keep on going, but I'm
Yeah,
burnt out, and we're not wanting to acknowledge that we're burnt
yeah.
out.
It's like your brain is a muscle. It's telling you it's tired. It's like, no,
Mhm.
no, no, don't listen to the brain. The brain's dumb. We can do more work.
Yeah, yeah. So just push through it, push through it.
Yeah.
Any other tips that you wanted to give?
Um, I just think it's not, not super specific, but I think it's important to just like be able to give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, and it's you got to give yourself some grace. We're not machines. We're not um able to do everything all at once,
Hmm.
you
I
know?
love that. That's a great point because probably before the pause, the reason we're not pausing is we're not giving ourselves that grace, that it's okay to take a pause, that, we'll probably, if anything, negative talking to ourselves, like, come on, keep on going, or like the tough love, like, what's wrong? Like, keep on going. Like, you can do this, finish this off. And, and you're, maybe talking down to yourself
Yeah.
to just keep going, and really it's like, actually it's okay to take a break, like I've
Yeah.
probably
Well, and
done
I
a
think
lot,
part of
like
it,
I need to reassess, or talking yourself in that, like it's
yeah,
okay to take a break so that I can do a better job, because maybe it's the burnout that's the problem, and
yeah,
not me. Like, it's just I need to take, or like it is me, but in the sense, like, I need to take a break,
yeah.
and it's okay to take a break.
I think like not to go down this road too much, but like the environment in which we live is one where on our phones, at our fingertips, at all points in time, we're constantly seeing every other person we know, they're posting or sharing like things they're doing, this, that, and the other thing. You're like, man, everybody's working all the time. Like, I got it. I also have to be working, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not. Like, I would argue most of those people aren't. Like, and they're all not doing it at the same time all the time. Some people work in the evening, some work at like they also are taking time to balance things.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, because I had that in the beginning of starting in real estate. I always
Mhm.
felt behind. So again, that whole guilt tripping thing happens because you see everyone just like, oh my God, like, how are they finding
Yeah,
so many deals? How am I they doing this? And the guilt trip just comes on, and you're just like, come on,
that's
Diana,
a
you
I
can do better. Why are you not doing
yeah,
better? Look at these people. So it's like that grace is just so important, to be like, who cares what everyone else is doing? Because we just want to care about our own business. And if we need to take a break, what's wrong with taking a break? It's actually important to take that break, because if anything, your business will fly faster when you've taken that
yeah.
break and that time to relax.
Plus, if you're not relaxing, you're not living life. Like, you're not gonna not only not be happy, but you're gonna be kind of a non-interesting person, maybe. Like, like you gotta go do things. Also,
100%. 100%
all
agree.
right,
So I guess to recap, so it was, if you get, I think actually also it's either asking yourself questions, but I think having someone there to ask you the questions to kind of probe you was
yeah,
one tip. And then the other one was being open to receive the feedback, because I think that's something that's kind of hard for us, is receiving that feedback. So even just priming yourself to be open to receive the feedback.
yeah,
And that
absolutely,
grace, like you said, I think the next one would be grace to actually, it's okay to take that break. And then the fourth one, take that break. If you feel
yeah,
yourself going through a burnout, if anything, probably take the break first and then ask for support, or ask for some kind of help, because you'll probably be more open to receive that information, that you've let yourself clear your mind out from all that stress.
absolutely. And none of that is a magic pill.
Mhm.
It's something that you're not going to recognize. You might recognize it a bit doing it once,
Mhm.
but it's, it's like brushing your teeth. You're not going to be done. You constantly have to kind of exercise those skills. And
And this will at least
and
put
do
you in
it,
the
you know?
direction. It'll put you in the
Yeah,
direction of finding out what is the problem of the burnout. Where
yeah,
is it happening? Like asking all these questions that get you in the direction. Because you said it's gonna not be the solution, but it's the path. It's gonna take you to find what solution works for you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. Oh my God, Matthew, thank you so much. I always love chatting with you. We always get some really good insights and I think great information for the audience. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me and can't look forward to or can't
Our
wait
next
to look forward to the
our
next
next
call.
episode. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Bye, Matt. Bye, everyone. And we'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.